Oh, guys, Bob here for Tuesday Night Live. Thank you for choosing us to spend a little time with. We're excited to have a couple back tonight that were here a year ago and had so much good stuff to share and talk about. Well, tonight we get to hear all about their Christmas 24 season with new props, holly jolly stories, and some behind the scenes Christmas cheer. The opening of tonight's show is brought to you by North Pole Cornerstones, a new, unique, and entertaining 4-day educational experience in San Antonio, Texas. This is Tuesday Night Live. Now let's move along and introduce the man that some might say gets her done when it comes to shopping. Yes, it's true that he is as busy as a pet beaver on a leash at Bucky's on a Saturday night. The truth is, his wife Jetta won't let him off the leash at a Bucky's because he just might buy too many beaver nuggets for the road trip. Here's Spangle.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Hey Bob, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What is every parent's favorite Christmas carol?
Silent Night.
Silent Night, yes. Oh, yes, you're so good. Oh my
That
God.
was a guess, and I finally got one right out of what four plus
Well,
seasons.
why does Santa go down the chimney?
Not sure.
Because it suits him. He'll get a little suit on his suit.
Oh,
Oh
that's a
gosh,
good one.
I'm
Now, of
sorry.
course,
All right, we better do a show, man.
no. You know,
Leave the
my opening
comedians.
monologue about shopping and getting it done. If folks could have seen the picture you put up a while ago before the show started, they would see exactly what we're talking about. Except that wasn't at Bucky's. That's out in your yard. So
Yeah, here. 2 layers deep
that's what he got today?
today.
Come in today.
The FedEx truck.
And that's all
pulled
one
up.
item, right?
Yeah, all one item. The FedEx truck pulled up and he goes, I want you to know they told me to load my truck with this, and I was the only delivery that driver had on his truck.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. So, here's a fun fact for you. Angela Mack will spend the next hour or so in the comment box, and she is the sweet one who answers all your questions but never misses saying hi to all. So, everyone say hi to her and hit those keys and say hello, please. Angela Mack's over in the corner, as always. Typing away. She spends most of her show typing, answering questions.
Get out of the box.
Saying hi to folks and hitting that night bot. She keeps that thing pretty active too. That's over on YouTube, of course. All right, be sure and catch our past shows or watch our weekly live shows on YouTube at the Tuesday Night Live Show 1225. You don't want to miss a single show. You just don't. So check us out and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The first step of the Tuesday Night Live Show trivia is brought to you by School of Santa's 2025, which is in full swing, by the way. Planning. You guys have been updating the website, working constantly, getting ready to put on a great week, 4 days, 5 days in Branson this year in the Ozark Mountains, where fun and education meet.
Read about it reporting for TNL Chatterbox News. School of Santa's 2025 will be held July 17th through the 20th in beautiful, picturesque Branson, Missouri, right in the heart of the Ozark Mountains. If you've been before, then you know all about the 4 days of festivities that School of Santa's is best known for. Each year, the host facility, Americ Inn by Wyndham, Branson, and Conference Center, is home to over 100 clauses for the weekend and is centrally located in the middle of everything Branson. If you have never attended SOS, what are you waiting for? You are missing out on one of the Claus community's premier educational opportunities. For more information on price and to ensure your place at the next School of Santa's, contact Tanya Lay at Branson Ticket and travel today at 800-432-4202. Again, that's 800-432-4202 and get registered today. I'm Read About It reporting. Now back over to you guys in the TNL studio.
Yeah, as you mentioned about, the website and everything, I'd like people just to go there and take a look at it. We totally redid the website, and there's so much more on there, and there's a lot more coming too. So if you look at it today, look at it again in a day or two, because there's a lot there. It's schoolofsantas.com, plural, schoolofsantas.com. Anyways, let's get on with some trivia here. A well-known ghost story of Christmas was first published in London by blank and blank. What was the full publication date, and who was the illustrator of the novel? Okay, so a well-known ghost story of Christmas was first published in London by blank and blank. What was the full publication date, and who was the illustrator of the novel? So really, there's like 3-4 questions there, kind of, because one's a blank and a blank.
Kind of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
the publisher's names, which is a blank and a blank. We need full published date, which is month, day, and year, and the illustrator's full name first and last. So yeah, it's kind of compound, but we're trying something different now. This is novel trivia, so it is Christmas related though.
And what do they give? I'll just throw a little clue out there. Quiet place in your house.
Now this is a ghost story of Christmas, so
that's another little clue that was in the. That's a clue to one of the answers. A quiet place in your house. Do you have any idea how I did that?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I sure do. All right, tell them what they get if they win.
Hey, you're going to get your name in the hat for the School of Santas, and you're going to get your name in the hat for North Pole Cornerstones. So, I mean,
that's correct. That's
twice as chance of getting out of there, getting it pulled out of there.
And of course, now the School of Santas is for the 2025 July date this year. And I did not get that date together, but as you said, 6 weeks prior to the school starting, so everyone can back up on their calendar and figure that out fairly easy.
Yeah, it's going to be like the very last Tuesday of May.
Yeah. And for the NPC, North Pole Cornerstones, that is the TNL scholarship that our Tuesday Night Live TNL Network Productions gives out each year, and that will be drawn on our last show here on Tuesday Night Live of the season. So look forward to that.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and say that's the date for the drawing, the last Tuesday in May. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. I'll make a note of that, and we'll make sure that that's what we follow up on.
All right. So tonight's featured guests were on the show a year ago in season 4, but as things have they have lots of new stuff going on in North Pole. Christmas of 2024 saw many new props, stories, and visits, so they are back to share with us on how they were able to deliver smiles to so many during this holiday season and more. Please give the warmest welcome to Santa Doug and Jenny Kringle.
Hey!
There they are!
How are you guys?
We're so delighted to have you back on the show.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah, I was looking today as I was going through all 4 seasons plus of our guest list, just looking to see who all we'd had on, and it will actually be 1 year next week. So you're 1 week ahead of a full year. But we are
awesome.
Glad to have you guys back. We really enjoyed last year's show. You guys have so much to share. So let's just go ahead and roll out of the barn by starting with props. And you guys have a lot to share here. So what enchanted props brought your Christmas character to life this past season, and how did you incorporate them into your visits?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got a great way to share that. But one of the things I want to talk about, too, is, what is a prop for a Christmas performer? And it's really any object that is used to enhance storytelling or create a better engagement or add maybe a visual appeal to your performance. And the one thing that we've tried to do is really create authentic type props. What would Santa have? What would Santa use? So for instance, when we first started out, I didn't want the toolbox prop bag. I mean, that's okay, but we ended up getting, I'll show you, we ended up ordering from, I think it was Historic Emporium. We ordered the old Mary Poppins bag. Because I'm like, you know what, if Mrs. Claus is going to carry a prop bag in, that's probably what she's going to carry. But what I ran into the last couple of years is trying to find the props. We're digging in, you know, you're trying to make things organized. So I'm like, last year I wanted to work this out. So I came up with a prop box. And, you know, what would Santa carry? Well, Santa's a toy maker, right? So he's got to have an old toolbox. So what I typically do is I have all my prop boxes and stories are all set on the shelf. So depending on the event that we're going to, I pull what I need. And that way I carry this in, she carries her bag with her stuff, and I know what I can pull out or use with the children. So I wanted to kind of share a few of them with you. Prime example, you know, everybody carries the key, but I have the wonderful key that, you know, has all the jewels on it.
Right.
And they always get knocked off on my belt. So I was gluing them on. So I literally made a prop box for my key that I could show the children.
Nice.
You know, usually with a new client, we start with the white feather story. And for those of you who don't know that, that was by Steve Gillum. And, you know, same thing. We have a white feather prop box that we have, you know, keep the feather in. And we actually hand out an envelope to each family with a white feather and the story in it. Last year, I decided to do, in honor of Leon McBride, I decided to do the magical snowflake. So in there, I had a snowflake to talk with the children.
Hey, Doug.
What's that?
Doug, if you could raise those up a little bit, because your banner with your name is kind of hiding the stuff behind you.
So we did the magic snowflake. And for instance, you probably are familiar with these nesting dolls. So I did a little break from his story where it actually includes the Frosty characters. So with the magic snowflake, we go from Frosty to his wife Crystal, down to his son Chili, and then to the daughter Millie. And usually Mrs. Claus holds these while I'm telling the story.
Yeah, we're usually a team when we're doing that.
And then what I actually did is I found a wonderful company that actually petrifies snowflakes. And so I let the kids see what a real petrified snowflake is.
And we pass it around.
Yep. And we talk about how unique each snowflake is and how unique each child is. So we try to look for something that's either character building, something that's maybe faith-based, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. One of the other prop boxes, which has been real popular, is actually reindeer. So this year with the wonderful reindeer prop box, I added a few options. I have the wonderful bone reindeer whistle. I think you have those too, Spangle.
Yes.
I've got reindeer cards. But then I also have some history cards where I talk about, you know, how reindeer can see UV light, or, you know, how reindeer, you know, we talk about their, you know, how their fur is hollow. So I can literally do some education with the children. But then on top of that, what I did is I ordered some actual reindeer fur. So then the children can touch and feel and get a real idea of what reindeer are. So those are some of the things that we're doing in the prop box. Another one that's real popular, and actually, Spangle, this would be great if you could find a producer of this. I've been using this a lot last year. I made this myself. Most of the props I make myself, but this is a real long scroll, but it's all in Elvish.
Yeah, we have those.
We tell children, hey, you know, I've got the today's nice list.
Mm-hmm.
I get one every single day, and I've got your name on it, and I show them, don't you see your name here? And of course, I can't read that, So, and they get real excited about that.
Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, you can't read that? Of course you can. Oh, it's in Elvish.
Mm-hmm.
And we make a big deal out of that. So it's fun.
Yep.
No, Spangled.
Oh, I should have known. You've got it.
Yeah, we actually have, this one's actually in English, but we have some with the green tie also, and the green ones are in Elvish.
In Elvish.
Nice,
All right. We may be looking for that in Gatlinburg.
And now, Spangle, you better check all your reindeer pelts because Doug and Jim might have lifted that square off one of yours when you wasn't looking at it.
Right. Yeah, we have.
They get so much
pelts
stuff from
too.
you. Why not let them have a little free sample of some reindeer pelt?
Right.
But we have some of the standard props too. One of our biggest props we used last year. I'll show it this year. Mrs. Claus uses this. This is one of our favorite ones. This is actually a Bluetooth lantern that we got off of Amazon. And we use this for our grand entry. We have kind of a grand entry song that she walks in with, and it kind of gets the kids all pumped up. And I know a certain spot in the song when it's my time to come in. So I start jingling some bells, and by the time I'm walking in, the kids are jumping up and down,
Yeah, of course.
And
now,
then
like you mentioned the term unique. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you mentioned the term unique earlier, and I've got to say that all of the stuff that you have put together, the presentation is very unique to the Santa community, and it just shows you if you think outside the box, get it? Box. Sometimes you can really come up with some cool stuff because you guys have got some cool stuff.
It just helped. It helped me organize a little bit more and be a little bit more prepared when we walk in. Typically, we have giveaways. Like, for instance, when we did the magical snowflake story this year, we actually gave away. I found snowflakes online that when I bought them in a package, every single one of them were kind of different. So each child gets a different snowflake necklace.
Well, that's dependent on the size of the audience that we have, So we will usually know how many children will be at if we do, like a private event. So that just adds something a little extra special to give to the children, after we tell that story about how everyone is unique and we're all special. And then I help them put their necklaces on, which adds that personal touch that Santa and Mrs. Claus love you and care for you. So it's just something special that we like to do.
Nice.
Yeah. And even what's that?
I'm sorry again. I was just going to say, I know we don't normally go to comments real quick, but there's one on here that said that it's Santa Tom up in Vancouver, Washington. Been trying to find an old school carpet bag similar to what Jenny had a moment ago, I assume. Where did you guys find that, if you don't mind sharing?
That was from Historical Emporium.
Okay, so that might be a choice for you, Tom. And or if anyone else that's watching the show tonight might know where you can get maybe a authentic old school carpet bag, put it in the comments for Tom or send him a private message. I'm sorry, now go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I even created a specific prop box just for Mrs. Claus, which has been real popular with the girls. And
So depending on, where we're at with our stories and how much time we have, and usually little girls are drawn to me, and I love that, and then I'll ask them, what kind of animals do you think that we have at the North Pole besides the reindeer? And then they'll start saying things, and I'll tell them, well, Mrs. Claus has unicorns at the North Pole. And they're like, what? And I say, yes. I said, would you like to see a special unicorn horn? And they're like, oh, you have one? So I open up my box, and inside there's a unicorn horn, which Santa glued to my thing so it doesn't fall out. But the story that I tell for the children is that, how we have baby teeth and how your baby teeth will fall out. I say that the unicorns, as they get older, this is their unicorn horn that they're born with. But as they get older, the unicorn horn will fall off, and I get to go around and collect them. I said, and then they're, just like your teeth, and then your big people teeth grow in. And then I talk about how the unicorns will have, I think we got this idea from, there was somebody, a lot of our ideas we get from other people, and then we just kind of tweak it and make it our own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this has been a big hit, just something special for me to have for the children.
Yeah. So even like, I'll show you one other one. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Christmas spider story. And these are stories you can look up, or we have on our website too. And so I actually went on, I think, Zazzle, and made my own binder with the story. So kind of created my own storybook for that. So I try to make our own props when it comes to things as much as I can, but also trying to keep it as authentic as we can.
Very cool. Okay, what heartwarming moments made this season truly magical for you? And were there any special encounters or unforgettable experiences that remind you of the true spirit of Christmas?
Absolutely. So the first year that him and I, this was our second official year together. So the first year that we were together, my Santa had put together these little Giver Bell mementos.
Mm-hmm.
And the story actually, again, came from Steve Gillum. So he printed off the story of the Giver Bell and what is so special about this. So at one of our events that we were at together, our very first season, Santa gave away 2 of these Giver Bells, and he followed suit of what Steve Gillum had taught about as far as what this means is a child who doesn't want anything for themselves, for a child who wants to give something to someone else for Christmas. So our first season we were together, he gave away 2 Giver Bells. One was for this little boy, and he wanted someone to be able to come and shovel the snow for his father because his father wasn't able to shovel snow. And then the second Giver Bell that my Santa gave away was for this little girl. Her name was Olga, and she just wanted world peace. So that was the year before. So, of course, Santa made a big deal out of it, and he gave her this Giver Bell. So this year, we were back at our same place, and I was actually quite surprised because my Santa here, I love him dearly, but he's horrible with names and remembering things better and all this stuff. And actually, I have to give him credit because he's the one who noticed. He gave me one of these old, because we had all these children around, and there was this little girl standing in line waiting to come and see us. And when she approached, I was looking at her. I'm like, oh, she does look familiar. My Santa's like, out of the blue, he goes, your name is Olga. And she's like, yes. And he talked about how he had given her a Giver Bell. And the mother had said that she had talked about how special this Giver Bell was. Oh, no, what happened? There we go. And how they had went home, they put it on their tree. And the mother said that they could not take their tree down all year. They took down all the decorations off of the tree, but they had to keep this one on because Santa gave this to Olga because she was a giver. And I mean, when they were telling us that, my Santa and I were just looking at each other, I mean, how could you not be touched by that, And so then we got a special picture with Miss Olga and her mom. So that was huge. That was a huge thing for us. The other thing was these shows and the Santa community that there is out there is huge, right? As far as learning from one another. And there's a Santa and a Mrs. Claus up in Canada. And her name is Winna. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Winna Reed, I believe.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I noticed for them, what they do is they give away teddy bears to various like children's hospitals, and they go and they visit, like sick children, things like that. So I'd reached out to her and she gave me the idea, and I got the idea from her. We actually ordered some teddy bears online from Walmart. They weren't that expensive, but we were able to use these teddy bears because we had gotten asked to do a children's grief share. I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with what grief share things are, ministries are. And grief share ministries are for those who have lost loved ones,
Parent, sibling,
right.
that kind of thing.
So when we found out that there was a child's grief share, I didn't even know something like that was out there. And I thought, well, why wouldn't there be? Right. So they had reached out to us to come, and we went to one of their grief share meetings, and we ordered bears, and then we made special little tags. This one doesn't have one on it, but we made special little tags on there. It's kind of like an encouraging Bible verse. And we handed each one of these to the children that was at the grief share. So that was pretty special too. You can just to be able to give our time and our love to people, because Christmas isn't always rainbows and unicorns for everybody, right? So it's nice to remember that there's people that are hurting at this time of the year. So to be able to share that was huge for us. And then we did Toys for Tots. When him and I first started, we had like a list of, oh boy, it would be great to do this, or it would be great to do that. And one of them was Toys for Tots. Like we wanted to be a part of a Toys for Tots. And sure enough, we had someone reach out to us, and that was their first time putting together a Toys for Tots, so we weren't sure how it was going to go, but she had put time slots in when to come meet Santa and Mrs. Claus. She hired a photographer. They came, they got their pictures made. But the thing was, they had to bring a toy for the Toys for Tots. And within a couple minutes, all the slots were gone. So she had to add more. But that was pretty neat because we got to see so many different families and children, and know that time that we were able to give was going towards a great cause.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we actually, one of the other things that we were able to do, or at least I was able to do, is we had a family that wanted to do a visit with us, but the father actually got leukemia. And so he couldn't be around anybody. So I ended up doing a real long video, about 10, 15 minutes for the girls. And throughout the season, I actually ran into several different people that had autistic siblings or children. And I would just grab their phone and do impromptu videos to them. And that was a blessing to be able to do that. So I got pretty good at improv last minute. So, but those are really special, heartwarming moments.
So I'm going to catch a couple of comments again, just because they're kind of important to where we're at in the show right now. Jeff McMullen says, Doug and Jenny, so proud of the growth you have made. Keep up the wonderful, creative contributions to our community. And Tanya Hampson down in South Texas says, we would like to grow up to be Jenny and Doug. Absolutely fantastic info and inspiration. So,
we're just following the Christmas spirit and following Christ.
And we're following what you all have laid the groundwork for us,
Yeah, we're learning from.
And it shows. It shows.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what unexpected twist tested your Christmas magic this season?
No, this
share
is a
curveball moment you faced and how you handled it.
Yeah. So one of the events we had was about an hour away. We're getting to the event, and I didn't realize it was actually, she usually ends up being the driver, kind of like the Steve Gillen thing. She's driving, I'm navigating. I didn't know where we were going. And it was literally where we were at an event probably 2 weeks prior. And it's for this insurance group that we've been doing for the last couple of years. And it was this place called The Loft. So it's kind of in a building upstairs. And where this gets important is we go up there, it's a bunch of insurance people and their children. and they have like a bar and a bowling alley and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's literally this place that we're up on the loft is very visible.
It's on the outside of the building.
It's on the outside of the building where you walk up the stairs. So you're not walking inside, and it's right off of a town square. And we're maybe a couple 100 feet from the town square. So we got done with the event and we're walking out, and there happens to be another Santa and Miss Claus sitting in chairs greeting children 100 feet away from us, and we're coming downstairs. I mean, we are. You could have.
And it's not easy, you know.
No.
It was raining, sleeting. The stairs were slick, and you know my outfits. I have like big hoop skirts on and stuff, and you know Santa went down before me. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm doing the best I can, you know, trying to walk down these steep old stairs. But that was awkward.
Yeah,
it was.
It was awkward.
You know, we made it down the stairs and
we beelined it out of there.
Yeah.
Can't was one place, but the kids.
Was he there just because, or was he actually there for another event downstairs?
No, the town had him there.
Right. The town had it was actually their Kringle market, you know, and so the people who had hired us, this was a repeat customer of ours, and we had just assumed, you know, that we were going back to the same spot we were, but then we were like, oh no, this is a different location. And as we were driving there, because we weren't 100% familiar with the location where we were going, but I had said to him casually, I'm like, hey, you know, I go, this town, they're having their Kringle market this weekend. He's like, really? We're like, yeah. And then as we were approaching the venue, we're like, it's right in the middle of the Kringle market. So,
oh boy.
But we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Hello, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
How's Dad and Mom doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we just wanted to kind of
wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does your
did the right
festive
thing.
wardrobe? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said they did the right thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. How does your festive wardrobe transform you into the magical characters you bring to life? And how does it shape the way you embody the Clauses in you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, for me as a Mrs. Claus, you know, Santa is usually pretty, you know, the red suit or whatever. There's different variations out there, obviously. But for Mrs. Claus, when I first started, of course, you know, I wasn't even sure I wanted to be a Mrs. Claus. We had talked about that the first time we were on.
We did.
But, you know, he had gotten me a traditional Mrs. Claus dress, unbeknownst to me. And he had said to me, he's like, hey, I got you this dress if you want to wear it, you know. So I said, okay, you know. So I had the traditional Claus dress that he had ordered, very basic. But then when I, you know, became like, you know what? No, this, I want to be a Mrs. Claus. I wasn't sure, you know, like what kind of look I wanted to be, you know. I know that there's all these Mrs. Clauses out there. And so online, I started following some Mrs. Clauses, and I have to give a shout out to Miss Rachel King because I was looking, you know, I was just looking at all the various Mrs. Clauses, and there are just so many out there, and they're just gorgeous. I mean, vintage Mrs. Claus is gorgeous, right? But with Rachel King, I had noticed her, one of her dresses. So I shot her a message, and I'm like, hey, you know, where did you get your dress? And she just kind of took me underneath her wing there for a little while. And she called me on the phone, and she goes, you have to decide for yourself, you know, like what is your, what look are you going for as a Mrs. Claus? So that's kind of what propelled me into exploring the various looks. So I do have quite a few different dresses that I wear. Some of our customers who know us, you know, who know us personally, they will say, we'll ask them, you know, what outfit would you like for us to wear, for me to wear? And they'll tell us. But I think it's important to know, you know, like when we are portraying Santa and Mrs. Claus, you know, Santa and Mrs. Claus are people, right? So they would have different wardrobes, they would have different looks. So we just look at the venue and what we're going for, and then we just try to think, well, what would Mrs. Claus wear to that? You know, what would Mrs. Claus wear to a traditional gathering? Or, you know, what would Mrs. Claus wear if she were going to a brunch? You know, so that's how we kind of
we
how
have
we look at
a
that.
pretty big closet full of different
Well, we have
wardrobe clothing
pieces. Yeah, we have different pieces that we can put together too. So
whether we're doing a baseball game and we have baseball jerseys or whatever it may be, we try to dress the part. What would they wear if they were going to this?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jen, didn't you say that last season when you was on the show that something to the effect that you had married Doug and you hadn't signed up as to be a Mrs. Claus, that you
Oh
it was
yeah.
something that you had to work into?
Oh yeah. My exact words to him was, you know, when he was coming into his own as being a Santa, this was completely from left field for both of us, to be honest with you. And I said, oh, go ahead. I don't care, you know. And then he started letting his beard grow out. I mean, he doesn't look anything like he did 5 years ago, right? And my exact words to him, Mr. Bob, we were in the kitchen, and I even did one of these numbers. I'm like, I don't know about all this. I'm like, I just don't know about all this. But now, I mean, I see I just love it. You know,
It's definitely a calling.
Mm-hmm.
It is a calling, and she was
It
called
is.
just like I was called.
You both got
All
the
right, so
same
how
phone
do you
call.
keep the magic alive even after the season ends?
Well, for us, here's the thing: our season really doesn't end. I mean, we start prepping for summer events almost immediately. I'm making prop boxes, and we start hitting the ground in July. We do get quite a few events in July. We do baseball game, we do parades. We got some other things coming up this year that we're going to be doing. So,
but I think also one of the things that we tried to do after our first year and
Mhm.
then this year was being very intentional about
Mhm.
sitting down after the event and kind of
Yep.
like debriefing, if you will, you know, like, okay, what worked, what didn't work, where could we improve, and write down highlights from that event. We don't do it right away,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, right? Because we're all pretty tired after Christmas. So we try to do that like February, March, April, just to try to sit down
and we started a journal this year.
Mm-hmm.
We actually started journaling our years because we're going to start forgetting some of these encounters and some of the things that we're going through. So we are doing that.
It kind of goes with the age thing, you know?
It's really
What's
easy
that?
to forget
Goes with
when
the
you do
age.
so many.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Spangle.
All right. So, what is your favorite ways to follow up with clients to gather feedback to ensure that they let you come back year after year?
Well, I think for us, what has truly helped is him. You know, he is an artist by trade, and he has a degree in advertising and design. So he's the one. He's the one who comes up with, the websites and the our business cards, the logos, the all that. I mean, he's the one who does all of that. So I think it helps on the front end, having your marketing plan down, right? What you want to present. And then after some of the events that we've had, we are very intentional as well to send out thank you cards. We'll send out a Christmas card and a thank you, and we'll include our business card in that. And then this year we're going to start, we'll send out Christmas cards, or like probably Christmas cards. I had gotten some really cute little Santa Christmas cards that we'll send out in the summertime, like end of June, beginning of July, like a Christmas in July, like a, hey, don't forget about us if you would like to book us again.
Nice idea.
You had mentioned previously about how you guys don't really have an off season. Welcome to Spangle and I our world, for me, it's right after the season. Used to, I tried to rest in January. Now with Cornerstones, we have to hit the ground running to get that, implementing and get going. And then, as soon as it's over, we start, going for the next year, start trying to figure out what we're going to do between the shows and all the other things. It's a full-time job and then some. So I understand exactly where you're coming from there.
Yeah, I'm there too.
Yep, that's what I say. You and I both. I mean, it's a year-round deal with you. The business and constantly buying and developing new product for the industry. And it's amazing how you can get caught up in this. A lot of folks retire, sit down on the couch, and kind of dwindle away. But you stay busy, and this has gave, I think, all of us a purpose. And it is a calling, Doug, as you said.
When I started dating my wife. When I started dating my wife, she said to me, "What do you do?" Because she's from Ukraine. Well, what do you do after Christmas? And I said, "Christmas." And she's no, Spangle, after Christmas. I said, "Christmas." I still do it. She's like, "Spangle, Christmas, December, January, February. What do you do?" And I was like, "Welcome to my world."
Right.
And now she believes, because we go to so many different Santa events, and she's met literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Santas. And she's like, "I think there's more Santas in America than there are children."
Oh,
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe not so, but I mean, she's seen a lot, and when you step into this world and you're not from this community, it could be a little overwhelming at how many you see.
And I get such a kick out of Spangle when he talks like Jetta, because he uses the same type of wording that Jetta does. It's so cute. So cute, Spangle. With such a wonderfully diverse lineup of events each year, do you have anything unique or unexpected coming up this season? Any magical experiences on the horizon?
We actually do. We've been really blessed where we're at. We really do get a mixture of events from corporate to, like child grief share, special needs school, all different kinds of things. One of the events that we've been doing for the last couple of years, we live in a town where there is a very large, one of the larger natural lakes in the area. And in fact, we perform as Santa and Mrs. Claus in a museum. And they have a thing called the Taylor Ice Festival. And main reason being is, back in the early 1900s, they would use the lake water ice to create ice blocks and ship them up to Chicago for the refrigerators. Well, back throughout the early 1900s, our lake was where people would go for vacations and things of that nature. They would take the steam trains down from Chicago to our lake. And there were resorts. There's no resorts now, but it was all resorts around the lake back in the day. There's some resorts that, that even have some gangster relations to them, like Al Capone in one and John Dillinger in another. And what they would do is when they would drop people off at one side of the lake, there really wasn't a lot of good roads to get around. So what they would do is they would run steamboats across the lake to pick up people and bring them to the resorts. So the museum actually refurbished these steamboats, and they do tours now, and they're the only steamboats in the working steamboats in the state of Indiana. And so, of course, this year they have asked Santa and Miss Claus to be on the steamboat during the summer
and help give tours.
So you will see Santa.
How fun is that going to be? Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Steamboat tours.
So you never know what it's going to bring your way. But, the thing is,
sure it's not a 4-hour tour.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to desert it all. Right. Okay.
No Gilligan here.
Okay. So now that you're all established as Santa and Mrs. Claus, tell those watching tonight the model you need when you first started out to market yourselves to potential clients while building your business and carving your niche out in the red suit industry.
Well, for us, when I started doing this, I really wanted to have the basis of our business, because this is also a business for us. We wanted to create a brand and build relationships, but we needed to really market ourselves effectively to stand out. So I looked at 3 key areas that I wanted to focus on, and that was visibility, professionalism, and personal connection. So our visibility, of course, is getting our name out. So we wanted to create a strong online presence. Everything nowadays is social media. So I built this, of course, website, Facebook, Instagram, got some professional photos done. We also attended local events. We did parades, tree lightings. We wanted to get our face out in front of people. And of course, after time progresses, word of mouth is also key. But, initially, you really got to get yourself out there. But second part to that is professionalism. From the start, we wanted to be as authentic as we could. So, when I'm Santa, my wedding ring comes off, and I have a Christmas wedding ring, and I have a anniversary ring. She has a wedding ring. When I, like Spangle, he's got the glasses, but I wear prescription glasses. So I ordered a couple pairs of prescription glasses that are Santa glasses. So everything about me changes at that point, whether it's a watch, whatever it may be. I've got, just like everybody else has their, sleigh license, and you see tons of those in their credit cards. But I took it up a notch, and I've got, my Santa passport, and I've got my Santa cash, and I've got my way slip for picking up reindeer food. So when, kids are questioning if you're the real Santa, I got a bunch of stuff for to show them. I got my library card in there, So I wanted to make sure that it's more than just the look itself. It's how we perform. We wanted to develop our backstories of what the North Pole is. So when we get asked questions, we have the same answer. Our storytelling techniques, we're changing those, and we're perfecting our mannerisms and who Santa and Mrs. Claus are for us. And we treat our business like a business. So there's contracts, there's clear pricing, and we want to be reliable. We want to help stand out. And then the last thing between visibility and professionalism is personal connection. We realize it's not just about showing up to an event. It's really about making people feel an experience. And that's really been our motto. And we created a motto for what our business is. It's bringing magical Christmas memories to everybody. It's creating experiences for people. And why we put everybody, it's not just children. I mean, adults are impacted with this as well. So that's our goal and our motto with our business. And I don't know if it's perfect, but it's been working for us.
One word: believability.
Yes. Yep.
You guys have got it. Okay, so this question I actually had asked you guys before, but I think it's important for couples together, working together as one. Talk about your unspoken itinerary you guys are use during your performances.
Well, I think our unspoken itinerary is, we have a standardized operating procedure. My brain is the more of the he's the artist, the creative one. I'm the, like this. So we have like a standing operating procedure that we go through each time. But I think it helps, though. Honestly, we are just very blessed. We are very blessed that we are a married couple and that we've been married for 30 something years. Right. So we already have that. Oh, thank you. Yes. 30 something years, 3 children, and four and a half
almost 5
beautiful grandchildren. Yes. So we have that natural ebb and flow between us, when we're out. And so, but we keep it as a standardizing procedure where when we go to a visit, prior to the visits though, prior to our house visits, we do our best to we contact everybody who's hired us. If it is a private home visit, we will send out these child questionnaires to them, and we ask them to fill them out. So a couple of days prior to the event, we will call them, we will go through the child questionnaires with them, and then Santa makes up a nice certificate with this. And I bring that in my special notebook. This is kind of a prop too that we have, which is my notebook that I carry our naughty and nice certificates in. So part of our procedure is when we show up to a house visit, we already have this ready to go. He already touched on, I will go in first. I bring the lantern, it plays music. I get the children all excited. A lot of times they don't really understand what's happening because they're not used to seeing Mrs. Claus, but I kind of get the momentum going. Like he said, he rings the bells, he comes in, and then if it's just pandemonium after that, right? But then we corral the children a little bit. We tell them, why we're there, how we got there. After that, then we do a picture time. We will explain to the people at the place, who had hired us. It's one thing that I think Mrs. Claus Vintage had said one time, when people hire you, you want to kind of tell them, no, this is how this is going to go. So they don't have to worry about it. Right. So we already go through all of that with our clients before we get there. So we go through, we do our pictures with the families. After we do our pictures with the families, then we do our chair time, where Santa and we'll call them up. I will open this up. I will read, you are Spangle. So Spangle, I see that you have an elf on the shelf and his name is Marty, and this is a report that we got from Marty, and we give them a nice certificate. And then they get that.
You're very close to the name of my elf.
What is the name of your elf?
Farty Marty.
Oh, Farty Marty. So then they can take, another picture, a one-on-one personalized picture with Santa and Mrs. Claus. And we do that with each child. Then he will tell a story, which would be like the feather story or the snowflake story or the spider story. And then after that, if time allows, then we will ask the children if they have any questions for us. And then that's where like some of our extra props come into play, So if we have that extra time, the children can ask stories for us.
Now let me ask you, if you're coming in with your lantern and your notebook, and if you got your prop box and Santa's got his prop box, do you have much problem with the children trying to get into things while you're doing something different?
No,
not
never
really.
ran into that.
No, and then we also have the people when we do private home visits. A lot of times, they will provide gifts. So Santa has his Santa bag. So we will ask them to leave the gifts outside.
This year, I ordered a huge Santa bag because I was running into the problem. I was carrying 2 or 3 Santa bags into a home visit.
Well,
and I'm like, I can't do this. So I had Angie's Customs make me a big, massive bag, and it's heavy, but I mean, it's got a shoulder strap. So, I mean, that thing's full.
Right.
But it's a lot better than carrying Santa can't have 2 or 3 Santa bags coming in.
But I think with our prop bag and when he has his Santa toolbox, you get a feel for, hey, do we need to do something else here?
Right.
You know what I mean? We've done our story. We've done question and answer time. And the children are just amazed, especially when I'm digging in that bag. I'm like, oh, what is in here? And I'm like, oh, Santa, should we tell him about this? And then I'll pull out whatever. So it really helps.
Yeah, we always add that if they have a gift, we use that as our exit. So we actually have one of the parents do a countdown. And we tell the children when we hand out gifts that they can't open it until the parent counts down. And that way they're not looking for the sleigh or anything. That's when we beeline and we leave typically.
All right. So before we go to break, can you speak a little bit about your faith-based options?
Oh, absolutely. We do offer faith-based, and we get to do quite a few of them. I've done everything from, the Christmas story about the Christmas tree with an apple. I have had postcards that, like, for instance, when I'm giving away the feather story, I have the gospel, the Christmas story on the back that I staple to it and give it out. But this year, we actually got a really unique request, and it worked really well. We had one of our clients that did a theme party with their grandchildren, and of course it was with this wonderful guy here, and so they had ended up getting
matching pajamas,
and the whole thing was
Grinch.
was Grinch oriented. So one of the unique things that I did is I kind of rewrote the story a little bit, because when you really look at the story of the Grinch, it's a great redemptive story of how he kind of, gets his heart changes. And so, of course, I created, a little picture book to go along, and, how Santa would actually share the gospel with the Grinch, and how the Grinch had, even though that he went down to, I called him the green guy because I can't call him the Grinch because he's copyrighted by Dr. Seuss company, so I would call him the green guy. And basically he still went down to Whoville and stole everything, but he realized afterwards, because I had shared the gospel with him before, because Santa was getting tired of delivering coal to him, that he had a change of heart when he remembered the gospel story. So I talked to, actually Randy helped me with this one. I started off with a little itty bitty heart, and then then by the end, when I'm getting done with the story, he had a big change of heart, and his heart grew 3 times its size, and so it was a great way for us to kind of share a redemptive story about Jesus and incorporating that into the story. And I think that's what we try to do something like that. And then we gave these out as these are ornaments to the children. So we gave them that so they could kind of remember that story throughout the year.
Nice.
Well, it's amazing how quick an hour can go by when you're having fun. So I think this is a good place to take a short break. Don't go away. We have lots more on the other side. First, our Stuff for Santa commercial, followed by the Showstopper special and our second trivia. Stay with us.
Oh, hello there. Yes, of course, it's me, Santa Claus. Now, you may not believe this, but one of the questions I get asked the most is, well, not how do I do it all in one night? No, but where do I get all my things from? Yes, now, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the finest things I have. My glorious gloves, all my knickknacks and trinkets and things. Yes, all the giveaways. Yes, for me to give to the children before the main event. Yes, if I see them in the streets, if they come and see me, I like to have something in my pocket I can treat them with. Yes, and there's one special place where I can find all these magical goods. And that is, of course, StuffForSanta.com. You should head there now and see what magical gifts you can find. Mrs. Claus, have you got my ice pad? Yes, log me on, I'm going to have a look. I shall see you there. StuffForSanta.com. Merry Christmas.
All right, this week's Showstopper special. This is a favorite by many, many people. The North Pole edition. I mean, they're just really nice looking. They're nice and shiny. They have adhesive back, and these, just like the decals on your car, they last and last and last. They're just really, really cool. North Pole edition. We're going to give you 3 of them because if you look at your car, a lot of times you have whatever kind of car it is. They'll be on one on each side and one on the back. But anyways, we're going to give you 3 of them for $40. We're going to ship them to you free anywhere in the continental USA. So get your set now. Be cool. Hey, anyways, let's get on with this trivia here. The first commercial Christmas cards were commissioned by who and was designed by who in what year? And there were 2 batches printed that year, totaling how many cards? Just think you can get your own set of these if you have all the right answers. We're going to send you 3 of them as your gift. $40, get 3 of them, send me a message.
And with such a nice gift tonight, we decided we better make the question a little bit harder. So this one's going to take a little bit of using those fingers, but again, only 3 answers, so you should be able to come up with it pretty quick. Well, actually 4. Counting the year. Almost messed that up, didn't I? All right, let's go ahead and move back into the second half of the show with Santa Doug and Jen Kringle. Over to you, Spangle.
Yeah, now that you guys are going to Gatlinburg, and I'm sure you're going to stop by the T&L booth while you're there. Anyways, are there any special workshops that you plan on to attend? And tell us what you have lined up.
Yeah, there's what a great lineup. I'm telling you.
There's so many.
There's so many, and it's really, really going to be hard. The ones that I'm thinking of, Mitch Allen is doing one, I think, on great home visits. I want to sit on that. Of course, Steve Gillum and Deborah. I want to see about the sneak peeks, but he's got a new story that he's going to tell about clay pots. So I'm looking forward to that. Larry Talbert, he's got a good one that looked interesting about making events more magical. And it's not necessarily about doing magic tricks. I know he's a magician, but it's about making Santa events more magical itself. And then I think also the Kringle brothers have one calling Creating Magical Environments Using Technology or something like that looked pretty interesting. But
but there's so many.
So many.
We were sitting down trying to figure
knows?
out, which ones to go to, but I don't know.
What about you guys?
Yeah, what are you all doing?
I'm working the vendor room.
Yeah. We'll be working the T&L booth. Of course, now I've mentioned this on Monday and last week's show, but if you find Spangle, you find us, you find Spangle. We're all together. We got 8 total booths, I guess, Spangle.
Yeah.
Yep. So, can't miss us. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Now,
be sure to come by and say hi.
We definitely will.
Say hi to me. Sure. Say hi to Bob. Throw eggs at Scott.
We're gonna be showing shows from the first 4 segments this year of the Monday and Tuesday shows. We'll be showing past shows that we think that are worth seeing again. We've got a big monitor that we're carrying with us. Going to be set up with our booth like we have here right now, the studio, and going to be doing a whole lot of live coverage. Going to have some of the other T&L family members going around and debuting or showing new products, talking to the vendors, and it's going to be a fantastic time. Anybody that's coming this weekend, be sure and stop by and say hi. You never know, you might end up in an interview or on camera. And Mitch did the great home visit for us last month, February, and San Antonio, and it was really a great presentation. So don't miss that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Bob,
but you're right.
I did.
I was just going to say, I had mentioned on yesterday's show that there are so many, and you have to pick and choose what you want. It makes it really hard.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Spangle. Go ahead.
No, you're all right. We also will be doing that photo booth that we got now, the stuff for Santa. We did it in Texas. We're bringing it to Gatlinburg. It's really cool. Take your pictures, take 1,000 pictures, whatever you want to do. It'll text it to you, email it to you. It's kind of cool. So
that'll be fun.
A lot of people had fun with it in Texas.
So as Spangle mentioned, and it was kind of my next question, and I'll just hit it real quick, but we've really already covered it, and that was, what do you have lined up as far as certain vendor booths that you might come visit? But we done discussed that, so on to the next question, Spangle.
Okay, everyone knows I like to eat. I mean, I go all the way down to Bob's neck of the woods just for dinner sometimes.
Yeah. All the way down here.
What's some must-eat establishments that are your favorite in PF and Gatlinburg? Pigeon
Pigeon
Well,
Forge.
Forge.
Spangle, I'm on the seafood diet. I see food and I eat it, and it takes a lot to keep, packing in this belly, but there's a lot of places in Gatlinburg that can do that. So, but I think for us, the one place that we haven't gone is that cliff top restaurant up at what do they call that? Ankeny. It's up at top. So
Where the Sky Bridge is.
yes,
so.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's one of our goal places to eat this year.
I know there's a steakhouse that me and Bob like to go eat. I can't remember the name
I
of
was
it.
going to ask you. Do you remember the name of that place, Bangle? I know where it's
I
at. I
don't.
just don't remember the
I
name
think
of
it had
it.
a Western name to it.
That's
It
not
was
the
one
one
of the
that
best steakhouses I've eaten at in a long time. It was really, really quality all the way across the board. And you have to walk from the parking lot across a wooden bridge across the creek to get to the restaurant itself. It's really the ambiance of it is just, I mean, the decor, the way it's decorated, everything about it was just top notch.
Yeah,
A little
Bob
pricey,
knows I
wasn't
like
too
to eat.
bad, a little pricey.
I'll get in the car and drive 7-8 hours all the way down to Texas just to go to a particular restaurant, or I'll drive all the way to Chicago for a particular restaurant that I like.
Well, I tell you
He
what,
does.
we are looking forward to the weather. I looked up the weather, and the weather is still cold up here, but it looks like it's going to be in the 70s.
A lot of bears there too. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had bears
So,
off our
Doug,
back.
you're going to hate us, but we were 90 today in Dallas.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Our first 90-degree day. Normally doesn't happen until later on in April, but who knows what this summer's going to be like if it's. No, we're supposed to cool back down tomorrow. We got a front coming through the street, and you keep hearing maybe you hear our weather radio going off. We got storms with high winds and hail and stuff in the Dallas County area. So anyway, looking forward to the weather also. And I just want to throw that question out there about the places to eat, because there are so many and everyone has their favorites. And so to kind of share with everyone, if you haven't tried a certain place and you see it recommended by someone on the show tonight in the comments, then, consider going and checking it out for yourself. There's that little place down the street that's a breakfast joint that looks like a log cabin. I can't think of the name of it either, but it's got excellent breakfast.
There's a ton of pancake houses around there.
Yeah.
Pancakes are the thing to eat for breakfast there.
Okay, so man, we have covered a lot tonight. This year for season 5, we decided we're going to cover more in the first half of the show and make the second half a little shorter, because we do have folks like Robert Oyer. He had to leave. He's a truck driver, and so he has to get in bed because he has to get and drive some freight truck. So we decided to try to do that this year. So we're kind of on the backside. But is there anything we haven't covered that you guys want to cover?
No, unless anybody's got any questions. I mean, that's.
Yeah,
I know there's a few that start. I caught a few of the ones at the beginning, but Michael, go ahead and catch these next 4.
Yeah, the questions or the comments?
Yeah, the 4-star.
Oh, okay. All right. So Tammy says, "Oh wow, the snowflakes. She really liked that party. What you were sharing."
Yeah, it is cool.
Okay, when you purchased the bears and other toys, were you given money for that, or did you just budget that yourself?
We just budgeted it ourselves.
That came from Jerry Cole.
Yeah.
I will tell you, when we got the bears, they did not look like that.
No.
They were vacuum sealed.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there for hours with a hair dryer, fluffing them up and straightening them out because they were like, ugh.
Yeah, it was funny.
Doug, you're so dedicated, brother.
Yeah, presentation. Well, but presentation is everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry Keel says, okay, wait a minute. Tammy says, oh, what a blessing you two will be for many years to come. I love this for you both and are excited to watch you all grow in the Christmas spirit.
Thank you.
Tammy
Yeah,
Cohen.
thank you.
Yeah. And Mrs.
And-
Claus, the evergreen queen, I make a form I use for every event and I make notes after each one. It really helps.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does.
Yeah, we keep a folder on every client.
Yep.
And for those who do not know who Mrs. Claus, the Evergreen Queen is, that's Trish Benecki here in Dallas.
All right. So let's say thanks to our TNL contributor that makes the show possible.
Let's do that. You know, we need to talk to Larry this weekend too and find out if he wants to continue to carry that name or if they want to switch over to the new name.
Right.
Don't let me forget to do that. All right, Angela.
Hold on, I'll stand here.
She was in the middle of typing,
No, I was writing.
writing. All right, let's reveal tonight's trivia answers. The very first one was novel trivia. A well-known ghost story of Christmas was first published by in London by Chapman and Hall. And the publication date on that was December 19th, 1843. And that novel was illustrated by John Leach. And our winner?
Larry Davis.
Larry Davis wins that one. Fantastic job, Larry. Name goes in the hat for both the scholarships. StuffForSanta.com. The first commercial Christmas cards was commissioned by Sir Henry Cole and was designed by Calcott Horsley. And that was in the year of 1843. And there was 2 batches printed that year. The original batch was 1,000 cards in black and white, and the second batch was 1,050, and those were hand colored. So the total number was 2050. Did you have a winner there?
Yes.
Okay. Ro?
So I'm still looking at this one.
She's still looking, so we'll come back to that. Okay, Spangle, let's go ahead and start closing out the show, and she can finish reviewing what she's doing there and get us the answer before we close. What's your closing thoughts tonight, man? You got any?
Well, you know, we have a silver bell over here, a really nice silver bell that we sell in our store. But I think I'm going to be taking a handful of those and putting them in my case because I sure do like that whole idea about the giver bell. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Doug and Jan, we want to thank you so much again for coming on the show, sharing everything that you've had to share. I tell you what, I know the audience was all thrilled to see you guys come back, and I don't think you guys disappointed in one bit. You have such a great program put together and it works so well together. And congratulations on the 30-something years together. That's again, one word, blessing.
Yes.
And so,
and the person behind you, Angela.
yes, definitely. She's she's like I said, she's the hardest worker of the whole team. Putting the script together is something that is always daunting for me. It takes several days to put the two shows together, but this is where I wanted to thank you and Jen most because you submitted the questions for this week, all but a couple. And I asked you to do it at a late moment, and you had it back to me within a couple of hours, and that's just unprecedented. That don't happen very often, but kudos, man. You did a great job. Great questions, and we certainly do thank you for all your
because we all know Spangle ain't going to be the hardest working one of the team.
Spangle's working. He's got his own thing that he marches to a different drum. There you go. So, all right, so tonight, and that's something new I started this year too, was kind of giving my final thoughts. I always ask Spangle what his is. As we all started out, we often wonder, where will this adventure take me? Will I find my niche in an industry that is ever changing while remaining the same? Put your faith in your ability to adapt and in your beliefs that you are guided by a presence that is far ahead of you in your journey. As we all depart to Tennessee this week, remember, you have already been blessed. You hold value in your heart as a Christmas entertainer. So go share that with your Claus family. And again, everyone be blessed. Did you get that? Yeah, Angie?
It's gonna be Carl White because there was a couple others that did the copy and paste, and we can't do that.
Okay, yeah. Remember, guys, no copy and pasting on these. That was something that we talked about last year, and maybe we should remind folks more often. It's too easy to reach over and copy and paste and throw it in there. We're looking for just the answers only, not a essay.
Right. Okay. Join us next week for our next TNL episode, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Don't forget to watch all of the TNL Network Production 2025 list of shows.
Yeah, one of them's Bob and Phineas, Monday at 3 p.m. Central.
That's right. And then on Wednesday nights, we have Kringle Time with the Kringle Brothers. And all these shows start at 7 p.m. Central, except for Santa Mel. And go ahead, Spangle.
All right. And join Santa Mel on Thursday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, as Santa's Magical Fellowship Group. This week, following SMFG on Thursday, starting right afterwards, is Christmas Crossings with Santa Chris Terry. That'll be 7 p.m. at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Chris and Kim's going to come hang out at the booth now that he is also part of the TNL lineup. So you guys want to meet Chris and Kim, come by the booth, as we said. Did you
also in this season, the Claus Connections Empowering the North Pole with Sean White starts April 10th from 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
That's right. We're going to try to make sure that Sean comes by the booth and hangs out, so that way you can come and meet all of the TNL family. The majority of us will be there, so we're going to have a lot of fun. Tune in.
You know, Bob, what we need to do is get a poster of everybody, and they can come by at different times and have them sign it.
That would be nice, or throw darts at it. All right, so tune in, kick up your heels, join in the fun for 2025, all powered by the TNL Network. Big thank you to schoolofsantas.com, stuffforsanta.com, Talbot Insurance Services, until we find out further, and pcornerstones.com, santanana.com, and nationwidesantas.com. Tell everyone good night, Spangle.
Good night, Spangle.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate you guys. Good night to all. Remember to join us for our next Tuesday Night Live next week. Each week, same time, 7 p.m. Central, same Claus time, same Claus channel. Not your blessings, not your sorrows. Have a blessed week. Please travel safe in your travels to the Santa Family Reunion this weekend. 680 folks total supposed to be there. It's going to be a party. Good night, all. Happy Clausing.